You see, we are talking about developing institutions. And if each time institutions try to assert themselves, we turn around to bastardize them, then I'm afraid we're not going to get anywhere.
Otna news for Akachile Ghana for say, it is not the president who sacked Charlotte. It was the 146 article 146.9 and known as sake Charlotte say. Into why are we saying say Ekufuado in the Pamo Charlotte say? John Dramani Mahama allowed the 146.9, the same 146.9 our constitution no, to go through. The due process was adhered to. But also and no kwasiafo we MPP for we nya opportunity a no ma catch Ghana for say John Mahama pamo tokonu. But when they were sacking Charlotte say using the same procedure, the same due process, the same 1992 constitution, the same 146.9, they said Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo did not sack Charlotte say. Now in fact a constitution and a sacking Charlotte say kwasia we ba betena TV so ochina obebo tai fibi abeka catch Ghana for say or a minority leader onimunyansa chen. This is a filthy liar.
My never say ma PENDREAM TV. PENDREAM TV there osia dem yopo.
Honorable Afenyo Markins. Why na okay can say be every na letter no PS ya Chief Justice said no Afenyo Markins say the koko apai. Until I said the entire President John Dramani Mahama ya Chief Justice said na bad precedents and a mind Ghana ya set el crew mu. We and a Kevin a copy tell us say boo why na ka say Afenyo Markins and a video be Afenyo Markins got na news file the brown omunji Charlotte said no and I say that Afenyo Markins who na omunji Charlotte said dia who betina o kan say mrakwan mu na dia pepe ne mo bibia na mrakwan mu na the right process until ba na sen and they did the same right process now you Chief Justice Aletana will do some money. Who can the president? Now, young share choir Kevin the Kobedu Taylor or the Afenyo Markins, the Faso.
A year Tokonu. A year, Madam Tokonu, a permanent every a year the Supreme Court of Ghana because of a year misbehavior, corruption issues, and in Yomebia. Na enisa oya. Why ye? Now yate Afenyo Markina oye Tokonu Adam for pa. It is so interesting, and you see, in some say no, we shouldn't joke with it. Sycophancy, hypocrisy, in Kofua, omo ye hypocrite, omo kanu kreno, omo say mine. Nipa on kanu krebia or dangerous. And this is the so MPP near. On kanokra now we share one MPP on kanokra. In fact, chechere MPP ni bodium because one better than MPP on kanokra. And a typical example of a liar, a politician who is a liar, a sycophant and a hypocrite is this guy Akakaru Raiditsu. Your friend Afenyo Markins, aka Kasungu, aka content creator. This guy has no respect for Ghanaians. This guy has nothing. Your friend says self-respect. Now. Madam Tokonu, ever seen nobody in Ghana or say he or she does not agree with the decision of Madam Tokonu being sacked as the Chief Justice of Ghana and also being sacked as a judge in Ghana. No, none of these people have been able to produce one document, one document, a year. I just want to say. They've not been able to provide one constitutional statement, anything that proves to say a kwina Madam Tokonu constitution didn't fast sa kwina enya kwan pa. The argument has always been about moral argument. And the Madam Tokonu issue, a free Supreme Court, it is not moral argument. We are talking about constitution and how the constitution was applied. So making a moral argument about Madam Tokonu being sacked, or losing her job, it does not justify say Madam Tokonu should not be sacked. Morally, you can decide to think the way you want to think, but until you are able to prove with evidence and facts to debunk or try to prove or disprove the constitution, say, senior constitution you apply no is wrong, no, then you cannot. Until you are able to do that, you cannot sit anywhere else and tell Ghana for say, Madam Tokonuna ye no Sebio Ghana ye boom raso. A Ghana constitution and a two tokonu. It wasn't an individual. Article 1469, and then a share Ghana for a share leader of the republic, John Mahama, to do what he had to do. Because John Mahama ain't Article 1469 and Kasa constitution now between to John Mahama free so. So John Mahama is just a tool in the hand of the constitution. John Mahama is a tool. He is a pen in the hand of the constitution, the 1992 constitution of the Republic of Ghana. At this point, what the NPP seek to do now is to politicize Tokonu's sack by the constitution. It is the constitution of the Republic of Ghana and the PAM Tokonu. Now, it's so interesting. This Afenyo Markins, not Owukrumha. Now, we are going to discredit you. We don't have time for banter. We will discredit with facts. Afenyo Markins, in 2017, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo about power. When Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo eyi Charlotte Osei free a yes electoral commission, that was the first time in the history of the Republic of Ghana Charlotte and EC boss president go through a process to sack her. A lot of people raised issues about how Charlotte Osei was treated and how she was not given the hearing ear. How Charlotte Osei was not given any room. Charlotte Osei and her two deputies. Even with that, people raising concerns, still Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo went ahead to make sure say Charlotte Osei constitution na da hono. Sa constitution no any Charlotte Osei and the deputies edi. Afenyo Markins went to sit on TV and he defended Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo's action. He defended the 1992 constitution because Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo and his government then based their actions on the 1992 constitution, Article 1469, to make sure Charlotte Osei is kicked out of power. And today, when you hear this content creator, this political liar, sit anywhere else to tell you, so, oh, we will deal with it at the right time. CJ's removal. There's nothing to deal with. Let's go and listen to Afenyo Markins. The hypocrisy and the lies. You cannot trust these NPP people. This is how Afenyo Markins defended the NPP when they came into power in 2017. How they used the constitution to get rid of Charlotte Osei. Yenti Afenyo Markins.
Yes. You see, Angry Kweku Bako was very candid. See, the president knows the politics of this country. So he was very specific, made reference to the petition, unsigned petition, the subsequent communication he received from the council, and all that. So he left it as it was, which is fundamentally different from what my respected colleague was trying to put out.
In other words, the president made the Chief Justice aware of the deficiencies that may be in the original.
He left it as it.
He didn't just send it. He wrote
of course,
pay attention that these are the issues. And I'll leave it to your judgment.
Exactly. You see, we are talking about developing institutions. And if each time institutions try to assert themselves, we turn around to bastardize them, then I'm afraid we're not going to get anywhere. Is it the president who has removed Charlotte Osei? Or it's an institution that has done its work in accord with law and has thus made a recommendation for her exit? The NDC may not be happy because they appointed the woman to head NCC. They tried to push her to the Supreme Court. The Judicial Council did not agree. She was rejected, and eventually she was sent to the Electoral Commission. The MPP as a party opposed the procedure for the appointment of the EC chair, and I led the charge. Eventually in court, my client was Richard Sky. It was not Charlotte Osei. They shouldn't get it wrong. The MPP opposed the procedure However, we looked after if the eventual appointment and the decision by the Supreme Court endorsing the procedure and all that. You remember I even raised the issue of contempt, that while the matter was yet to be tried, Mr. President had gone ahead to appoint and order, and I thought that it was not appropriate. But look, it didn't get anywhere. So when Charlotte was appointed, as a party, we had issues with the background. And we did not hide from that. Yeah. But it was not an NDC, MPP person. It was not Kennedy Japan. It was not Gabios Asardako who petitioned the president for the removal. Get it straight.
What's your Afenyo Markins? Charlotte say, the time no, Ekufuado the bar office na, ye den, yi Charlotte say no, or say, one, enya president ni yi Charlotte say, na eye constitution no ene yi Charlotte say. That was his statement. Or say petition na, troye na, jina so, pam Charlotte say as the EC boss no, enya gabi ochedako na troye. Enya bedie tu na troye, obi na troye. And also akasa no say every time be a person you developing institutions, you know, they will try to find a way to go after the institutions. You know what he was trying to say? He was trying to say, a buying take a decision to make sure say institution be being ye. Now say the right things should be done. Now ye na Ghana for ye kassetia the decision na a buying eteki. Say presidency receive petition now or act on the petition now any Ghana for we are fighting the presidency. This is the defense Afenyo Markins etna TV so catch the Ghana for when Ekufuado in 2017 it decided say it was say Charlotte say or permanent every EC office. He made his point. In fact, see at a point, you know, Charlotte say the positions ni binana de man na no omo MP before tiase no. Oma the last guy, sa the last guy ya kwasi campaign the last guy. The last guy ya Afenyo Markins ene Gabi Ochedako de ko school e UK. Sa kwasi the last guy ya na nsɛn Afenyo Markins yenya issue e parliament or the case de court no. LGBT anti-LGBT case no. Afenyo Markins man de court the same the last guy. This is what they have been doing for years. But what I want you to understand and say, he made it clear, say, constitution no, constitution no, and then ye shall to say free ho. Na enye nanado dankwa Ekufuado. That was the same thing when Ekufuado put his presidency on the line. These are the same people today. They are fighting Ghanaians. Adentina, Madame Charlotte, Madame Tokonu. Also for the same process, they have a problem. Adentina Ghana for year penny. Why are we allowing it? It is political. We need to create a new law to protect some people at some very important places. This is the same Afenyo Markins. Otna news for catch the Ghana for say. It is not the president who sacked Charlotte. It was the 146 article 146.9 and known as sack Charlotte say. Into why are we saying say Ekufuado ne pamo Charlotte say? John Dramani Mahama allowed the 146.9, the same 146.9 our constitution no, to go through. The due process was adhered to. But also and no kwasi afo we MPP for we nya opportunity. No man catch Ghana for say John Mahama Pamo Tokonu. But when they were sacking Charlotte say using the same procedure, the same due process, the same 1992 constitution, the same 146.9, they say Nanado Danko Ekufuado did not sack Charlotte say. Now in fact, a constitution and a sacking Charlotte say. Kwasia we ba betina TV so ochina. Obebo tai fimbi abeka catch Ghana for say or a minority leader onimunyansa chen. This is a filthy liar. The law is the law. And this is something they have been doing for years. When we start we start here, the NPP deliberately decided to politicize it. But to date, they have not been able to state one article that the due process, and I say the constitutional president will be a breaking any law when it comes to the process now. They have not been able to cite one infraction. They have not been able to cite one infraction. They have noticed say Samra way the president buso, Samra way the nipa way buso, entina madam no sake no, it is not right. They have not been able to do that. The same procedure, the same due process, Ekufuado, Ede Charlotte say femu no, the same due process, and not talk on femu, and so almost say Ekufuado the end na a constitution a pamon Charlotte say, but talk on the end day, Mahama and Nimu Harry, or na yeteni, and Tianfansha Mahama, and Kwasia for Maui, and then there, Omudi MPP in him. They have no principle. They are not people you can trust. They don't have the intelligence to be honest. They see every single Ghanaian and say, Jimmy. Until every time now when they get the opportunity, they just want to lie and think, say, we will absorb it and just follow them like sheep. So what is credible about this guy? What is credible about this guy that Ghana ni awo kosko onim nyansa onko skuko onim nyansa Ghana ni otoaba? Why should any Ghanaian onim nyansa listen to this idiot? Because they are the same thing, but he's trying to justify one and trying to make one somebody's intentions. He's justifying one. But when it comes to Ekufuado's decision he took, it wasn't Ekufuado's fault. It was the constitution. But when it comes to John Mahama's situation, when the John Mahama allowed the due process, John Mahama allowed the constitution to work, it is not the constitution, it is John Mahama. This is the kind of dirty politics and kwasiafo way ya. Enti every day biano, their numbers keep dropping. And Messi Megu party no 2028 Megu no. Because of these fools. Because of kwasiafo onyankopon wosoro ode nyansa aduame mitirimu no megu party no megu no flat.
For Kevin Ekoberu Taylor ena yakote ni kanona asemi de amount say MPP na ngata party na ho o so akoye say oba bia oni ni boyfriend en jai say onwo no oba no onya hu reason ti and boyfriend ni jai ndi okoba bia okonya relationship bia okonso a Kojano is a MPP number. Oko election be our condition. Or maybe be able to tell you now why. If you still a find any problem, when I came here, church, I said MPP, Bonnie Mudino, the last 8 years now. And then the same Bonnie deal more because time I mutis on say normal. Moody Bonnie, no more say normal because Ghana phone be to me Casano. And then we will be your moment say they be normal. Na na nipa bebre na ya na mo was na nkofo we boni amomodi okro we mu no se ne bi ni nte ba ne se na mo de amanfo de bi di mu a na mo de mo se mo nti ase na na ayo nkwa a wo fa so a mo di Charlotte said mo si procurement issues bi ni nyamanyama mo set committee up ayi na di amaga na fo anti ase be pim ne Mama crack and was or Nimra, Yana Nimra, the law is the law. The law is the law. The Bia Asimsia, Uma, we see the law is the law. Now said, law now, a law, my do the brave from Sir, who's the cocoa pipe. They are carrying Canyon answer. She knew I'm to be me. This year, the Chief Justice, I know, and Ocean or Kruma. On your Chief Justice blue. Administrators crowd on your view. You say, I know, you acting Chief Justice, and you also say, on best signing in him, now be the substantive Chief Justice for the Republic of Ghana. Tell for our PENDREAM TV, subscribe to channel on my while subscribing, so on turning notification on no. Turn notification so that the video be at to obey first person, over news may be top for my news in corner the month two for my on subject kind of first.
Whenever I say PENDREAM TV there, I see them you